Hello, class. This is week 3, and I want to go over the solutions lab. One thing important I want to mention, it is a 2-day lab, and so you will need to set aside 2 days to complete this lab. And so the first part is information, an overview of what you will be working on for this particular lab. We're looking at different solutions, dilute solutions, concentrated, saturated, unsaturated, and supersaturated solutions. The other thing that is important in this particular section are the two calculations that you will be working on. So one is the mass percent, and it's G solute over G solute plus G solvent. When you're doing this calculation, there's a few things that I want to point out. The G represents grams, and it talks about solute and solvent. Solute is the substance that's in the smaller amount, mass wise, and solvent is the substance that's in the larger amount. Or you can think of it this way: the solute is the solid that's being dissolved in the solvent, which is usually a liquid. And then, but it could be two solids, it could be a solid and liquid, it could be two gases. But when you're thinking about solute and solvent, especially when we're talking about solutions, we look at solute being the solid and solvent being the liquid. And then it says times 100. This is very important when you're doing mass percents that you multiply it by 100. The percent sign simply is the unit that you're using. Okay, so you're going to multiply it by 100. Your answer will have that percent sign next to a number. Then we have the molarity. The molarity is the moles of solute over liters of solution. So if you start off with grams of your solute, then you have to convert it to moles using the molar mass that's listed in the periodic table. Okay. And then the liters of solution. So if you have milliliters, you do need to convert that to liters for this particular calculation. And if you need help with these calculations, please let me know. Then on this second portion of this same page are the materials that you'll need for this particular lab. Some of these materials, like you see up here, those are in your lab kit. And then these materials down here are either household items or you may need to purchase for this particular lab. And so I'm going to stop sharing for a moment just so that I can show you what these substances are. Okay, and so I want to show you where you can see it in a larger view. All right, the first thing, looking on my table, oh, here we go. I rearranged my stuff. All right, so we have the electronic scale. Okay, that's your pocket scale. You have your 10 milliliter graduated cylinder. And these things I'm showing you first came in your lab kit. All right, you have your safety goggles here. All right. And then you have your 250 milliliter beaker, and you have 3 test tubes. Okay. The 3 test tubes I have sitting in a test tube holder, but you didn't get that with your kit. And so you can simply take any type of cup. I have a paper cup here and just sit them in there while you're doing the experiment with your test tubes. You may need more than 3, but you have more than 3 in your lab kit. One thing that is not listed in the materials is a weighing book. Okay, you do have this in your lab kit. Okay, you can use like a couple of these for this particular lab because you need one for weighing out different solids. Okay, and you also could use this for your small bowl, and I'll show you that in the lab. Okay, so that's what came in your kit that you would need. The other thing that came in your kit that is listed in the household items is a spoon. You can use one of your spoons that came in your kit. All right, so the next thing is the household items. So some salt, okay, it's a little glare with the TV, with the light there, but that's your salt. Okay. And that's your fine crystal salt. And then you need a small bowl. It's got to weigh less than 60 grams. I didn't have a small bowl, but you can use your weighing book for that part. Okay. It works perfectly for that if you don't have a small bowl for this one. And then the coarse sodium chloride. Okay. I have the coarse salt. It doesn't have to be kosher salt. That's just what I picked. Okay. But it just has to be coarse salt. And then a coffee mug. You know what a coffee mug looks like, but I'm gonna hold it up anyway. And then you have your spoon. Okay, remember, you can use your spoon from your lab kit. That works perfectly fine. Then you're gonna need cooking oil. All right, I have vegetable oil, but you can use any type of cooking oil. Works just perfectly. All right, and then it says iodine tincture. All right, there it is. Okay, this is your iodine tincture. I'm gonna try to zoom in to the camera. Ooh, it's too much of a glare. Let me see. All right, there we go. So this is your iodine tincture. I got this from Walgreens, but I know CVS sells it. Walmart probably sells it. Okay, and so you just need a little small bottle of that. And then you have your isopropyl alcohol. Okay, just your rubbing alcohol. And then mineral oil. Okay, got mineral oil. And then table sugar. This is my big container of table sugar. All right. So those are what you're going to need for this lab. I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. Okay, so you'll see this listed here. All right. And so let's go and see what we will do for this lab. So I don't want to go over the whole lab, but I do want to go over just a few key things that I wanted to point out just to get you started on the lab. And then if you have questions as you're going through all of the different parts of the lab, then simply let me know. You can email me, text me, or call me. All right, so for this one, I do want to point out that you do need to submit that 2 to 3 minute video of you completing a portion of the lab. And this is a portion. So that doesn't mean that you need to do all of this lab in the video. No, just any portion of the lab, just so that I know that you have completed the lab on your own, or at least a portion of this lab. And 2 to 3 minutes is all we need, but it does need to be at least 2 minutes. Okay, nothing short of 2 minutes, or you will lose that point. Okay, so make sure that it is at least 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the most. All right. And then on this video, you do need to have a label that has your name, the date, and the course information. Something like this is CHEM 115, and you are working on the week 3 solutions lab. Okay, that's perfectly enough. Your name and the date. And I suggest you put on a note card. You can put it on a piece of paper, however you want to show that proof, but that needs to be in your video. Okay. And then make sure that you submit that video, and that will be question number 7. So if you have questions about submitting videos, about doing the video, please let me know. That is a very important part of the lab. Okay. And so some other things that I do want to point out. So you are going to be doing some weighing, all right? And you're going to use your electronic balance. You want to make sure that first of all you turn it on. That's very important. And then you're going to be using the weighing boat, okay, that you have on there, and you're going to put that on the balance. It's going to give a particular mass, okay? And so when you're talking about the mass of your weighing boat, okay, unless it specifies that you need that mass, and you will need it when you weigh your small bowl, but for the weighing of the sodium chloride crystals, it does not say that you need to know the weight of your boat, um, your weighing boat, okay? And so you're gonna put it on there. You're gonna hear that tear button. The tear button, what it does is it zeroes out the balance. And so it does not take into consideration the mass of your weighing boat. So once you've hit the tear button, then you can start measuring out your sodium chloride. Okay. And what you can do is you can take your spoon and then just kind of pour it into the spoon, or you can pour it directly into the weighing boat. And you want to get 36.6 grams. Okay, that's your goal. All right. And so once you've measured out your 36.6 grams, you're going to place that into your coffee mug. You're going to add 100 milliliters of water. All right. And so remember, use the weighing boat and your electronic scale for masses. Use your graduated cylinder for volumes. Okay. So when it says you add 100 milliliters of water to the mug, this only goes up to 10. So you need to measure out this 10 times. Okay. Beakers, although they have measurements on the side of them, they are not accurate for measuring volume. And so you always want to use your graduate cylinder to measure your volume. All right. And so it doesn't matter for this particular experiment whether it's tap water, bottled water, it doesn't matter. Okay. Tap water is perfectly fine. All right. And so you're going to put that into the mug, and then you place the mug in the microwave. Heat the solution until it boils. Keep in mind, okay, when you've heated the solution until it boils, that mug is going to be hot. Okay, so you want to make sure that you use an oven mitt or some kind of protection so that you don't burn your fingers. Okay, taking the mug out of the microwave. All right, you want to stir this until all of the crystals, or the majority, okay, have dissolved. Let it cool. You're going to weigh a small bowl. So this is the point where you can use your weighing boat for this portion where you ran the small bowl. It doesn't have to be in the range of 50 to 60. You just don't want it to be more than that. Okay. So then you record your mass. You're recording it down here where it says mass of evaporating dish. This weighing boat or your small bowl is known as your evaporating dish for this experiment. Okay. And so when you weigh it, you want to make sure that you put that mass in 1A in this box. Okay. And so then you are going to transfer 6 milliliters of saturated sodium chloride solution to the bowl. All right. So you have your saturated solution in your mug, and you have your graduated cylinder. You're going to pour it slowly in here because you only want 6 milliliters. Okay. So you're going to measure out 6 milliliters. That's why I said you can use this because it's not going to be much, okay, that you pour in here. So you're going to transfer that here. Make sure that only the liquid transfers. If you have any solid in your mug, you do not want it in here. You just want liquid, all right? And then you want to weigh the bowl with the solution. So you take another weight, record the mass. Allow the bowl to set out overnight or until the liquid has evaporated. This is why this is a 2-day lab, okay? Because you have to let it sit overnight. You want all the water to evaporate. You're going to add water. Sorry, first you're going to reweigh it, okay? Then you're going to add water to dissolve it and dispose of it in the sink. All right. Then we get to parts B and C, okay? And for these, you don't want these to go down the sink, okay? This is not how you want to dispose of these solids, okay? For this one, you're working with cooking oil and iodine tincture. It is a small amount, okay? But neither of these can go down the sink, okay? They're not safe for the environment if they do. And so you want to pour these into the trash, okay? And make sure you have some paper towels to kind of absorb these liquids, all right, when you're dumping them, all right? So for everything for part B, for everything for part C, we are dumping into the trash, okay? Because none of these substances need to go down the drain, all right? So be careful of that. All right, but if we're working with just salt and water, they are free to go down the sink. Okay, but anytime we're working with oils, with iodine, we want to pour those in the trash. Okay, All right, or sucrose, that's just sugar, so that can go down the sink as well. Unless there is oil involved or iodine involved, then you don't want those to go down the sink. So be careful of that. And if you have any questions about the proper disposal of any of your substances for this lab or any other lab, please let me know. All right. So the rest, you can figure that out. All right. And so then we go to the next page. Now we're looking at more dense water cooking oil, the color of iodine in water, and all of this. So we're again looking at what's going on for our oil, okay, and water, and our iodine in water. So this was actually on the previous page. All right, so for part A, your information goes here. But then for B and the rest, your observations are going to continue over here. Okay, so this is for part B. And then this is where you put your information for part C. This is where you put your information for part D. Okay. All right. This is where you put your information for part E. And this is where you put your information for part F. Okay. And then the last page is where you post your video. Okay. And remember, your video needs to be 2 to 3 minutes and you doing one portion of the lab. So, say you wanted to do part A or part B or part C in your lab, just as long as it's 2 minutes, then that would be perfectly fine. All right. So, if you have any questions as you're going through this lab, please let me know and enjoy it.